Hey, everyone, welcome to Rhythm and Roads podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Jacob. We have a very special guest. We have recording artist Treyzis. Welcome to Rhythm and Roads, sir.
How's it going, man? How you feeling?
Oh, feeling great, man. Alive, woke up, feeling good, inspired, ready to hear stories. So here we are.
Hey, that's a good life, man.
Yeah. How you doing?
Not too shabby, man. Just got back from the gym, got a good
Okay.
workout in, and
Feeling
now I'm
good.
ready to chit chat.
We did. Well, yeah, I appreciate you coming on Rhythm and Roads. So let's go ahead and get into your story, brother. So let's start with chapter one, episode one of Treyzis. So when did it all start for you? When did you, at one point in your life when you were young, decided, hey, I want to do, would you consider your music R&B or is it more hip hop or both?
I would say it's hip hop,
Okay.
but I incorporate a lot of different elements into my music, but it's primarily hip hop, though, I
Okay.
would say.
It's strictly hip hop. Okay, cool. Yeah. So yeah,
But
what point of your life of that journey started for you?
I mean, when did it start? It's kind of hard to say like
When you were young?
when it started, but I've always had like a love for music.
Hmm.
And I recall like being like in elementary school, maybe like fifth grade, fourth grade, and like walking to the bus stop, walking back and forth from the bus stop, and just like thinking of raps,
Yeah.
right? And I had like this little cardboard piece of paper that I would like write my this little piece of cardboard that I would write my raps on,
Oh, dude.
and yeah, so I always kind of had a love for music. Like I have early memories of like requesting like Outcast, the speaker box Love Below, like whenever we would get into the car and things like that.
Yeah.
So the love for music has always been there. I ended up like pursuing photography as my first kind of
Oh, you did?
passion. hmm
Oh, really?
Photography
Wow.
and video, and I did that like through middle school all the way through college. So I went to school for photography,
Wow.
but I was finishing up my as I was finishing up my college career.
Mhm.
We had to put like a thesis together of all of our work, and I deep down like I always wanted to like do some music. I always associated with artists before I started making my own music. I would do cover art for other artists. I would do like music videos, and
Oh, wow.
I would always be around like those circles.
Yeah.
But when I was doing that thesis, I decided I was going to do like a little spoken word piece,
Mm.
and that kind of just lit the fire. And the rest is the history. I just started making music. I did more poems, I did more music, and then it just kind of became like a snowball effect.
Yeah.
So yeah, long story short, but I basically started. I've always had a love for it,
Mm.
but it didn't get put into motion until probably like 2020 ish.
2020. Oh, wow. So it's been almost about 5 years.
Just about. Yep.
Yeah. It's very interesting that I didn't know your back, of course, your story of just being a photographer. That's really cool, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a few friends that are photographers, but I actually enjoy it too, but I'm not so in it as much as filmmaking because I'm more on that. But of course, it could be almost similar, but you know,
There's a lot of
there
crossover,
is.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. So
But for me, I prefer the actual film, than the photos, but I do enjoy certain photography. So yeah, it's really cool. It's awesome, dude. Oh,
yeah,
what?
there's a
Go ahead.
there's a slowness to photography that it's a different it's different. I enjoy filmmaking too,
Oh, okay.
but it's a different kind of engagement with the image. And then like a lot of my visuals for like my cover art and like promo, like I'm usually the one that does it. So
Oh, do
yeah.
really? Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Because I've seen some of it. It's actually really good.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Especially the one, I mean, I didn't have it up, but I actually like that's actually a cool shot. It was actually this, oh, needs. Did
Oh
you do
yeah.
that shot?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good shot, dude. I saw I was like, wow.
Thank you.
Yeah. See what I so yeah, see that works for both. I mean, you can be a photographer, a recording artist, and use your own stuff together, and it works out. You don't have
Exactly.
to hire someone.
For better or for worse,
Yeah.
sometimes I'm doing too much, but it works though,
Hey man, as
so
long as you have a good time doing it, man, you love it.
exactly.
So that's
Exactly.
good, man. Yeah, it's cool. And so your first EP, is it the old ways?
That's my first project. Yep.
Oh, dude.
Yep.
You
Yep.
want to share a bit on that story on how that started?
So the Always EP, it started from an experience I had when I was out in LA,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and I was there visiting. I was there at a music festival,
Okay.
It's called Smokers Club. I don't really smoke like that, but the festival's called Smokers Club. It
That's
was a good time. But
yeah.
when I was there, I'm not gonna get into too many details just for privacy reasons. But when I was there, me and my me and my associate is what I'll say.
Mhm.
We uh we got into some shenanigans.
Oh, okay.
And and based off of that experience, it had me like really thinking about where I was in life and
Mm.
like kind of the decisions I was making and things like that.
Okay.
And yeah, it kind of just had me questioning like the path I was going on and like why I kept on ending up in certain circumstances
Mm.
that weren't in my favor.
I see. Yeah.
So from that experience, I wrote a song called Mirrors, and that song is like pretty directly about my time in LA.
Okay.
And from there, it kind of blossomed into the EP. Mirrors isn't on the actual EP, but that
Okay.
was kind of the starting point.
The starting point.
And
Okay.
basically, the project is essentially about me shedding old habits, shedding old ways, and internal transformation. And again, letting go of things that were no longer serving me. And before I did the project, I had all my locks were very long. All of them
Oh,
were
wow.
very long.
They were
They're
longer than that?
This is like longer than it was because this has stayed, but
Oh,
they're
okay.
probably like up to like
Wow.
maybe like right there. But this is like 10 years. So
Wow.
basically for the project, like, and where I was at in life, I cut off all my hair. At that point, it was like 8 years worth of like growth.
Yeah.
So it was like a symbolic cutting, kind of tying back into the theme of the album of like shedding my old ways, shedding habits that were no longer serving me,
Mhm.
and evolution, essentially. So evolution of self.
That's an interesting point that you made by doing that. You're kind of like rebuilding yourself, restarting, and you used your hair right to kind of resemble that, to kind of like I'm refreshed, restart.
Absolutely,
Wow, man.
absolutely.
Wow, that's
So
pretty deep.
I appreciate it. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
man.
it's like they say, life imitates art, and art imitates life. So it's like, you know what I mean? It kind of just ties, and
Yeah.
I always try to stay genuine to like what I'm going through in my music.
Mm,
If I'm not like playing a character or something, like I always try to keep it true to my experiences.
mm.
So, you know,
Yeah, man. No, thanks for keeping it real, man. Being genuine and just being straight out and what your experiences are and helping others see that side, to be like, man, I felt that.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Of course, we don't know the whole story behind LA, but that's always
Maybe another time.
that's
Maybe
always an
another time.
experience
But
to be like, yeah, yeah, good experience, good times, but that's it.
yeah. Yep. Yep. So,
Don't worry, dude. I used to live in Las Vegas, Nevada, in my 20s for 10 years, and yeah, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
there we go. I'm sure. I'm sure y'all got into.
Oh, dude, I wasn't crazy, but we have our stories, yeah. But and then you look back, you're like, man, like what was I thinking, bro?
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
it's good experiences. So anyway, all right,
It's all
man.
the stuff that makes us.
That's
So
right.
there we
Yeah, it
go.
gives us that mold of life of just getting us to the character who we are now. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly.
So Needs, I actually been listening to Needs too. It's a good song, man. I really do like Needs.
I appreciate
Anything
it.
behind that on the story?
So it's interesting because like people ask me like needs isn't when I was making it, it wasn't necessarily about a person. I was just in the flow, and I feel like I have a balance of um making songs from the head and then also trying to like make songs from the heart as well.
Hmm.
And I think needs is a good balance of that because it is very groovy, it's very like upbeat, it's a good
Yeah.
time, but there's also some storytelling elements into it.
Okay.
And with that song, like I was really trying to articulate a feeling that you have with like somebody that you really care about. And when you have such a deep level of understanding and when you're on the same page,
Hmm.
it's almost like you could look at them a certain way or they could look at you a certain way and you know exactly like what they're feeling. You know
Right.
what I mean? So it's about essentially the communication that we have that's without words. Communication with the eyes, communication with body language and
Yeah,
things
I
like that.
agree.
Just the unspoken like you know what's up.
Yeah,
Like
you know what's up, yeah.
there
Without
we
even
go.
saying anything, you just know.
Exactly, exactly. So
Interesting, man. Very cool. Yeah, good way to explain that.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it is a very catchy song. I like the beats too. Do you do the beats like do you create the beats yourself or do you have a producer that does that? Or I mean, how does that all work?
I work with a myriad of different producers, all from online. I wish I had the chops like that to produce one day. Not today though. But yeah, I work with a bunch of different producers online, and I try
Oh,
to I pride myself on having good beat selection.
good,
So
good.
I try to pick something that's groovy, something that's a good time. So
Oh yeah, dude. And I'm glad and it seems like you take your time with what you choose. You're not just rushing like, okay, let's just pick that because it's like no, I
absolutely.
want if I feel it, then I want them to feel it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
that's
I know it's a good beat if I hear it and then I immediately start wanting to rap over it. It
okay.
might be gibberish off jump, but if I'm already trying to cook something up, I know it's there's something there.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you were, I want to ask you, when you were young and you were saying that you were writing on the cardboard and all that,
Hmm.
were you also very like into poems? Would you, I know rap or hip hop can be almost the same, but like, would you write your own poems too, as in like on the side that's not nothing to do with music,
So at that time, not really.
or just sometime in your journey of your starting point in your teenage years or anything, just writing poems
There
of deep stuff? I don't know.
at that time, not really. In high school, before I started making music, there was a poetry club that I went to two or three meetings, and then I ended up not
Okay. No.
following through with it. But I think the interest has always been there, and I think a big part of what kind of took me so long to really explore music more deeply
Yeah.
and to practice it was I was essentially waiting for somebody to give me permission.
Oh.
But it took me some time to realize that I had to give myself permission.
Hmm.
And growing up from I was born in 97, so growing up in the early 2000s
Okay.
onward, at that time there was very much a stigma around being a rapper,
Hmm.
and me being super socially aware from a young age, I was already I don't know if I really want to be associated with that image of a rapper.
I see.
But so that kind of that in turn kind of made me kind of ease up on the idea of being a rapper.
I see.
And then on top of that, I'm actually dyslexic. So
How are you? Oh wow.
yeah. So in school, English and writing classes were never my forte. I
Oh,
remember having so much anxiety about having to read in front of the class and all that stuff. So that was kind of another barrier that I, artificially put up for myself, meaning oh, I can't pursue this. What are people gonna think and da 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 da. But again, just with life and living life and becoming more comfortable with myself,
yeah.
just realizing that oh, it doesn't really matter, or I don't need anybody giving me permission telling me that this is okay as long as it's okay within myself.
Wow.
So there was a big gap where I've always enjoyed music deeply,
Yeah.
but I was hesitant about participating in it in the way that I truly wanted to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah.
So
You know, I want to get to, I want to talk about that real quick, what you said. It's very interesting because, you know, a lot of us do have our certain fears that hold us back from our full potential. And
absolutely.
a lot of it starts in our mind. And so
Hmm.
for you to say, like, I was at this point where I was already feeling what I wanted to do, but I didn't know if I could actually do it because I didn't know what they would think about it, how I would be portrayed once I do it. You know what I mean? But that's really
Absolutely.
awesome that you actually overcame that in time and look where you're at. And that's the thing. It's like sometimes you just have to, like you said, accept yourself and saying, I need to give myself permission. And regardless, just don't blink.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
I'll say this real quick and then we'll move on to something else.
Hmm.
And that was interesting because I actually just asked my brother almost the same thing. My
Oh,
brother's a
really?
filmmaker, yeah. And I still, and I'm not saying I struggle with it a lot, but this one particular moment I did ask him, I said, I don't know if I should do this. He's like, why? He said, because I don't know what they'll think once I'm actually out there in person doing this with the
Hmm.
cameras and all that. And he says, you know what? Spielberg got asked this in the 80s and 90s because he was actually at the highest peak of his career and but he was also getting backlash and certain things about what he was doing at the
Hmm.
time. And so they asked him, "Hey, how are you dealing with certain just criticism or certain things that are said about you, or just how do you?" And he's like, "I just don't flinch. Meaning, I stay focused. I don't,
Yeah.
and flinches as in like you, like you're. It's gonna happen where you just don't let it phase you. You know what I mean?"
Mhm.
He's like, if you stay focused to who you are and the purpose that you have in this goal in this life, it's just stay true to who you are. Just don't look at the crashing waters around you or what's going on around you. Just stay on that journey.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean,
And
man?
it
So and when I heard
100%.
that, he just told me, don't flinch. I was like, all right, let's go, let's do it, man. So yeah, so I'm continue on that journey.
And like just to like piggyback off of that, like I think again, and I think for me, it was like it took time to realize that like you can't please everybody,
Mm.
and ultimately, like you're the one that you're going to bed with yourself like every night. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
nobody else is in your head, and it's like
Yeah.
you trying to fold for everybody else and try to appease everybody.
Mm.
Everybody else is doing yourself a disservice, you know. And I don't want to look back 30 years from now and be like, dang, I wish I would have pursued this. What would have happened if I would have pursued it or da 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 da, you know? Like
Right.
I'll be able to live with be like, oh, I tried that. You know, maybe it worked out, maybe it didn't. But at least I tried. I
At
can't
least you
say
tried.
like, you
That's
know?
right. Yeah.
So
Well said, man. Yeah, at least you tried instead of saying I did not try that and I don't know what could have been. What could have,
exactly.
you know? Yeah, well
Exactly.
said, dude. And good for
Appreciate
you,
it.
man. I'm really happy for you where you're at, man. You're doing well
Thank you.
for yourself. You've overcame a lot of obstacles and certain things in your past, journey of just overcoming, fear, the self-doubt and all that. I mean, look, man, you're living the impossible. That's my slogan for Rhythm and Rose, live the impossible. So,
There we go. I'm with it, man.
sure.
I'm with it.
All right, man. Do you have any shows coming up soon? Any shows coming up any near future?
No like official shows, but I'm in Brooklyn now, so
Oh, you're
summer's
in
rolling.
Brooklyn? Dude, I
I'm
thought
in
you were here in El
Brooklyn.
Paso.
Now I'm in Brooklyn right
Oh, good.
now.
All right.
So, no shows, concrete shows at the moment, but the open mic scene is crazy here, and I'm going to be hitting the circuit all summer.
Oh,
So,
nice, dude.
you know, we're building new foundation out here right now. So,
Nice, man. When did you move out to Brooklyn?
October.
Oh, last year. Okay. So
Yeah,
it's
so
time.
relatively recent, but
All right. I
yeah.
actually thought you were still here. I was all like, oh, I wonder if he'll have a local show. I can go check him out.
I feel like I tend to be kind of a little elusive. So, like I'll pop up in El Paso for an extended period, and then I'll be gone, and then then I'll come back. But
Yeah.
as of right now, I'm in Brooklyn. So
Okay. That, that's cool, man. Yeah. And I want to ask you, do you have any future music and like I guess songwriting in the works of any music or another EP, maybe an album?
absolutely, I have a project. I'm just gonna call it a project for now.
Okay.
But I have a project in the work. The working title is Elemental. It
Wow.
might be I might change the name to Naturalism. I'm still kind of on the fence. But as of
Cool.
right now, the title is Elemental, and it's a loose concept project.
Okay.
Um, very jazzy,
Oh,
uh,
really?
very jazzy,
Yeah.
and the idea is basically tying in different elements of the human experience, like emotionally, to the natural world. So
Oh.
I have a song called Del Sol featuring another El Paso artist. Her name is Sarah J. That song is about the love, but personified through the sun.
Oh,
I have a
wow.
song called Swim that's like about, you know, defying other people's expectations of you and things like that. And, you know, that relates to water and things like that. And a song called Wind that kind of relates to materialism and like letting go and things like that. So
Hmm.
it's a loose concept project. There's some hero's journey elements in it,
Okay.
and yeah, I'm aiming to have that out ideally by midsummer. Fingers
Really?
crossed.
Midsummer. Okay.
I don't want to rush it, but I'm close to the finish line.
Heck yeah.
I want to make sure it's right
Yeah.
before I release it.
Oh yeah,
So
dude. Take your time with it. Yeah, as long as it's good, then let it go. Let it go, bro. Let it
there we
go.
go. There we go.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that. I'm actually looking forward to hearing it. I'm
I
very big
appreciate
on
it.
jazz too, so that's gonna be interesting to hear.
I love jazz. Yeah, like yeah, and it's great to. I feel like some of my favorite rappers were categorized as like jazz rappers
Hmm.
at some point. You know what I mean? Like the Tribe Called Quest. You know, Outkast. They have very jazzy
Oh
elements in
yeah,
their
Outcast.
music. You know,
Yeah,
So like again, I get influence from a lot of different places.
no,
So
that's good.
you know.
So I do want to ask you, knowing you are a music artist, what artist out there has inspired you that as just in general, just listening to it, like, oh, every time I listen to them, I'm just like, that's my jam, or the way that, or the way that they do their, the way they compose their songs.
So t- my all time favorite rapper,
Mhm.
all time favorite musician is Lupe Fiasco. I don't know if you're
Oh
familiar with
yeah,
Lupe
dude.
Fiasco.
Heck yeah. I've seen him at House of Blues in Vegas.
Oh really? That's
But this
dope.
was back when he did that, I think his first album. Like
Food and Liquor, Kick Push.
yeah, Kick Push. Yeah, because I
Yep.
remember when it came on, everyone was all hyped up in the show. They're, oh,
Yeah.
it's Kick Push. Yeah. No, yeah, that was back in like '07, I think,
Yeah,
2007.
that's about right. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Wow, Lupe
But
Fiasco, dude. That's awesome.
yeah, he's a very very talented MC writer.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about Lupe has had just such a big influence on my life in general, just about how I see the world,
Okay.
outside of music. And I feel like when I was young listening to Lupe, I felt like he was saying things that I was feeling, but I didn't necessarily know how to articulate.
Wow.
But then I would hear the song and it was like, oh, that's like what I'm feeling.
Mm.
And he's such a talented writer. Like he can make like the hit songs like Kick Push and like Superstar and stuff like
Yeah,
that. But
Superstar. I remember Superstar. Yeah.
he can also like do the crazy rapidy rap stuff, like make quadruple entendres and have lyrics that like hit you like years later after you've
Mm.
heard the song.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's a great like he's a great writer just in general, and he's definitely somebody that I've looked up to just musically, but he's not necessarily the one that inspired me to rap because he's like so good. He's like so good. Like it's crazy. Like he's teaching at MIT now. Like it's crazy.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I was,
He's
I was
teaching
what I was
rap.
gonna ask, like, what happened to him?
He's teaching rap at MIT. He still releases albums.
MIT.
Yeah.
Wow,
Crazy, right?
that is crazy. Good for him.
So he didn't inspire me to rap because he's just so good and I was like, "Oh my god, like how am I going to be able to do that?" The person that inspired me to rap though was probably this artist out of Denver. His name is Old Man Saxon.
Okay.
And he's a character. He's a character, and he has a really great story, and he has a really great TED talk about his story. I would recommend people to listen to. But
Okay.
watching that was like, oh, like I can do this too. Like why not?
Why
So
not? You have nothing to
exactly,
lose, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
The only
So
thing you would be losing is you just didn't try and you lost out.
100 full circle,
Yeah,
just
man.
like that. It's all connected,
That's right,
right?
brother. Yeah. Yeah, interesting, man. Yeah, I need to look him up. So he has his own music. What was his name again?
Old Man Saxon.
Old Man Saxon. Okay. I'll have to look him up. And his music's on Apple,
Yeah,
Spotify,
it's everywhere.
everywhere.
He
Okay.
was he was on a Netflix show a couple years ago called
Oh, he was. Okay.
it was like a rap competition show
Oh,
that
okay.
he was on. I forget the name of it, but he was on there. So
Okay.
yeah,
No, cool. Check it out.
yeah,
Well, I really want to say thank you, Treyzis, right? Treyzis.
yep.
Sorry.
No,
For
you're good.
coming on Rhythm and Roads, just to share your journey and the incredible experience, man. I do want to ask the reason why I asked if you ever did any poems writing just on the side from like just being, writing your own songs is because I know I'm a huge fan of R&B singer. Is it Janae Aiko?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And she
She's
actually
dope.
has a poetry book. And I remember I bought it when she brought it out like a couple of years back. And I was like, this is deep. Like she was using some of her lyrics from her songs, but it was also her life into this book. And it wasn't big. It was just like a nice little small, but it was just so cool to read it. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty deep. So I just thought maybe
Absolutely.
down the road you would consider bringing out a little small book of all your work of like your life journey, but in poems or poetry.
I'm I'm not opposed to it, and like I feel like again, like the artists I look up to, like even like Andre and people like Andre 3000 and people like that.
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like if you strip back the beat, if you take the beat off and just read the lyrics, very poetic, like very poetic in itself, So yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to it, and I did some spoken word, I have a couple of spoken word videos out, but Right now, I want to dance a little though.
That's all good. Yeah, yeah. That's cool that you have some spoken word vids out there. Yeah,
Yeah. Just,
good man. But yeah, if you're always, I would definitely hope to see a book down the road.
yeah,
All your poetry, yeah. You can
I'm
even
open to
call it
all of it.
elemental.
Ooh,
Oh, so you're already with the title,
there
dude.
we go.
There you
There we
go.
go.
And then yeah, that'd be a cool journey, and maybe some of your photography that you've used of your own stuff, you could just add it in there. Just
Absolutely.
the
Pair it up.
timeline.
Pair it up,
Oh,
you
you
know?
already know, bro. Next time I'm gonna be like, watch next year, pre was it pre-buy a book, poetry book.
There we go. I'll give you a credit. I'll give you a credit if it happens.
Oh, no, it's all you, bro. This is I appreciate it, but it's all you, man. I do want to ask before we close for the viewers, can they find you on social media to follow your?
So I'm at Treyzis everywhere. So Treyzis. So
Okay.
that's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I'm on Twitter, but I really don't be on Twitter.
Mm,
But if it's I'm Treyzis at Reddit. Like wherever you search Treyzis, I'll probably pop up.
Traces. Okay. Yeah,
Yep.
just and that's the same for Instagram, just Traces.
Yep.
Yep. Cool. Nice,
Yep.
man.
Yep.
Well, we look forward to your new music coming out, hopefully in the late summer. And yeah, we can even bring you back on and just share about it too. I would love you
Cool.
to come on Rhythm and Roads and share about
Yeah, I would.
it would be a new EP or is it an actual album?
Like as of right now, the runtime's like 22 minutes, and in order for it to be an EP, it needs to be 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
But I don't want to. I might be calling it a mixtape
Okay.
rather than an album. I don't know if I'm ready to like be like, oh, this is my debut album. You
Mm,
know what I mean? Kind
yeah.
of want to wait on that. So
Okay.
yeah,
All right, man. Well, sounds good. Well, thank you, Treyzis, for coming on Rhythm and Roads. Appreciate you, brother, for sharing the incredible journey and just being real. And one last thing, anything you want to say to your fans?
PYP and shine on. There we go.
There you go,
Protect your
bro.
peace and shine on. There we go.
There you go. And live the impossible. Go and
Yes,
do
indeed.
something that's going to scare you so you can grow and see what's on the other side.
Yes, indeed.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next episode.